Hey everybody, this is Alex Merced from alexmercedcoder.com, and this is going to be a video on uh, Raku. And here we're going to be talking about object-oriented programming in Raku, which works the same as object-oriented programming would in any language, but with a few quirks, because Raku always has a lot of quirks. Again, never having done Perl in the past, I don't know how much of those quirks are just things that have always been Perl versus things that were in Perl 6. Um, so, again, feel free to comment and elaborate on that if you'd like. But essentially what you do, just like in any language, you would do class dog, and tada, you've created a class. Okay? And then we can instantiate that class by just basically saying, you know, Sparky equals dog.new. Okay. So let's see here what happens if I decide to say what Sparky is. Say Sparky. Okay. And then we put some semicolons here. I think I need a semicolon here or here, and possibly here. Let's see here. Variable Sparky is not declared. Oh, yeah, I didn't use the keyword my. That's right, we have to declare them with the my keyword here in Raku. And there you go. So dog.new. It's just, yeah, there's not much to it right now. Okay. So now the cool thing about properties here. Now in JavaScript, everything's just public by default. Okay. In Ruby, everything's private by default, and you have to define accessor getters and setters. In Raku, they are private by default. Okay, and then there's no public or private keyword per se when it comes to attributes. The way attributes work is we'll declare them. So let's say I do this. I say at. So let's declare like a name variable. So again, you gotta use the right sigils depending on what kind of variable it is. So if it's like a number, a boolean, a string, something that's just like a normal value, it'd be $. And you'd use an exclamation mark, and we'll just say this is the name. Okay, the exclamation mark. Okay, and then actually we have to use the keyword has. That means this class has this property. Okay, now what this means is that this property is private. Okay, the exclamation point. So I cannot access it from outside. Okay, but I don't have to create a separate constructor to set it from the get-go. Okay, I can literally just pass in a series of keys and values. So I can just basically be here like name Sparky. Okay, and that would work. So if I try to access that name, so if I go over here and say, hey, let's access name. Actually, I think it's just Sparky.name. Okay. Okay, so see no such method name for invoking type dog. Did you mean any of these? No, none, take note. Okay, because it didn't create a getter and setter method. I could create one manually, kind of like you can do in Ruby, but there's a better way of doing it. I could just change this exclamation point to a period, and that should make this now. It still is not writable, like I can't change the name, but it allows me to at least have a getter. I can now retrieve the name. See, and now I can get Sparky. Okay, now what if I want the ability to write the variable? Then what you're gonna do is you're just gonna add the keywords is RW. Okay, and this just means is read writable. So now I can be like Sparky dot name equals Bob. And then do, say, I'll just copy this. Okay. And see, I can change the names from Sparky to Bob. So basically I can do that with all these different properties. So that's how it works. Now if I want to have an array, so let's say we wanted to have a list of like treats the dog has, I could do something like this, treats. Okay, treats, and then I would go over here and just be like treats And actually that would have to be an at symbol because it's an array. At. And then treats would be, you know, kibble, bacon. Okay. And right now I can access those values. So let's try that. So let's access Sparky.treats. We'll access the first treat and see if that works out successfully. And see if we can access the first treat, kibble. Okay, and you guys get the idea. So if it was a hash, I would then use a percentage sign. But the idea is you can pass in those key values. So see, I don't have to create a separate constructor to make things kind of happen, to kind of set those properties right away. Okay, and then you can create methods. And to create a method, we would just use the keyword method. So we'll say method bark. Okay, and bark will take no parameters. And we're just going to say bark. And that's all that does. So now we can say, hey, Sparky's going to bark. He's going to use the bark method. And see he barks. Okay. Pretty cool. Okay. Now let's talk about inheritance. So now you know how to set properties and methods and how to set those properties at the instantiation. Okay, so I haven't seen if there's a constructor yet if you want to do something other than just set properties at instantiation. But I'm probably sure there is something to that effect. Let's see here, but if you wanted to do inheritance, we can do class small dog is dog. Okay, what that means is that it inherits from dog. Okay, so now if I were to change the Sparky into a small dog, so small dog.new, everything should still work because he's still inheriting everything from the parent dog class. So see, everything still works because he's still inheriting the definition of dog, but now I can add another property. So we'll just say just has cheese. Okay, and then we have to make that readable. So has cheese, and we can add that to the list of things that we're defining here. So cheese is Gouda. Okay, and then we can just do say Sparky dot cheese. Okay, and let's see what we get. And so you get Gouda. So it works. It works like pretty much the same logic as pretty much any other class system in other languages. Again, just some different syntactical things. Again, you have the sigils, depending on the type of variable it is. You have to use the has keyword to declare your properties, and you declare your properties sort of accessibility property by property through this syntax here. And yeah, and use the method keyword to define methods. But otherwise, it's the same deal. Okay, so my name is Alex Merced from alexmercedcoder.com. Have a great day and enjoy.